Hey everybody, welcome to another review from Izzy Said Escape on YouTube. I just finished watching Halloween Kills. It is 11:08 p.m. I have had a lot of people ask me about the order of which to watch these films in order to catch up. Now, before I get into the details of this review, I'm going to go ahead and state the following. When you want to catch up with Halloween Kills included, the only films that you need to watch in order to fully connect the storyline are these two. The original 1978 classic and Halloween that was released in 2018, along with Halloween Kills. You don't, however, have to watch, unless you are interested into entertainment value or guilty pleasure, you don't have to watch this or this. Or this one. This, as entertaining and as much of a guilty pleasure as it is, still the worst Halloween film ever made, in my opinion. Or these two. I love Rob Zombie and what he did with the films, with these two in particular, but you don't have to watch these. Once again, to catch up, you just have to watch these two and Halloween Kills. I listened to and read a lot of reviews pertaining to Halloween Kills and how most of them are venturing into the negative and mixed review realm of how it offers no form of new innovative technique or is fairly predictable and formulaic. And before I venture into that, let me say once again that my review is spoiler free, so there's not going to be any intricate details that I'm going to spill out for anybody. I just want everyone to understand that this is my honest assessment of what I watched. Halloween Kills takes place on the same night of Halloween that was released in 2018. You have the Strode family who just finished combating Michael Myers within the previous film. Now, any form of a slasher horror film with the main antagonist, you always know that they always have a way of surviving. They always come back. Whether it's Jason, Freddy, Chucky, Pinhead, what have you, they always have a way of coming back, and Michael is no exception. So we know Michael returns. That is no spoiler, nor is it a surprise since we saw it in the trailer. As the events are taking place on the same night of Halloween, you have Michael who once again is emerging and is bringing about his evil onto the Haddonfield structure. The interesting thing that I found unique about this film is that it offers some form of an important message within it. And it's not to the degree of it being political or preachy or beating you over the head with it. I think what makes it interesting is the fact that it's a far more grounded and realistic perspective of what could occur if such a tragic, horrible, evil scenario were to happen in, say, 2021. Given the technological advances that we have available at our disposal today and the inclusive connective tissue that we have as a society, I would reckon, if it did occur, the reactions that happened in this film would be very similar to what would most likely manifest today in 2021. And it's the same way with the one that was released in 1978. Given the fact that there was hardly no technological advances available then, the reaction would be similar then. So I thought how they included this message was very clever and interesting at the same time, and innovative, because you didn't expect it. When it comes to horror films, especially of the slasher genre, you don't expect any type of important message to be included within it, unless it's, say, Saw, Seven, Identity, Get Out, or Us. Even though those are not what you would consider to be slasher films, those are horror films that does have some form of a deep, I don't want to say deep, but intellectual method that offers you a unique way of thinking about it from a different perspective. Michael is what you would see, what would be defined as he was in the original film, the personification of all that is evil. There is no real rhyme or reason as to why he's committed these acts, and that was the problem with the other Halloween films that have has no connective tissue with the ones that I'm talking about. They always have found a way to explain why Michael is the way he is. They try to give him, I don't want to say humanize him, but when you try to give a detailed explanation as to why this type of evil exists, it removes what makes it so frightening. It doesn't really have a way of resonating with the audience, because you don't really need a message to get across exactly why they are the way they are. It's the fact that he's evil. He's evil, and evil exists, and that in our society right now, there are, and even past, there are people who are evil. You don't understand why they are the way they are. You want to find out exactly what makes them tick, but that's what makes it scary. You, at the same time, you don't want to, because what they're thinking will most likely just give you nightmares for the rest of your life. And that's what Michael's all about. Michael is a shape. He exists. Evil exists. And that's what makes it fascinating. Michael's presentation in this film is far more brutal, conniving, methodical, and even unintentionally funny to a certain degree. There is a scene in this film, and I'm not going to go into any details about it, but it's so interestingly over the top and humorous that you can't help but laugh and have a little bit of a chuckle. And this is to come from someone who hasn't sincerely laughed and chuckled in quite some time, to be honest with you. And when I saw this scene, I just couldn't help but have a little bit of a chuckle, because it was just so cliche. It was so cliche and stupid and cheesy at the same time that you can't help but find the morbid humor in it. The beginning of the film as well is probably one of my favorite sequences of all time. There is a callback to a character there's a callback to a very iconic character, and I'm not going to spoil it because it is by far, how they did it was absolutely amazing. I loved everything about it. In honesty, it got a pretty appropriate response for the audience that I watched it with too. It was absolutely amazing to see. You just felt the exhilaration and the adrenaline and the excitement when this character shows up. So it's by far one of my favorite flashback sequences in a horror film. And the interesting concept about the flashback as well, it has a very old-timey, old-school, traditional way of filming that makes you feel as if you're watching the original Halloween all over again on the big screen. And that's what makes this film so interesting as well, is the fact that it's very grounded within a realistic cinematic perspective. It's not so to the point to where it's using CGI for blood or broken or severed limbs. It's all about simply having it be using prosthetics, fake blood, and just going about being over the top and entertaining as well. And that's what Blumhouse is very successful with, the fact that they embrace what type of films that they are releasing for the public, and that's what it's all about. It's not simply about trying to include some agenda. It's about entertaining the audience. And Halloween Kills, I have to say, I loved everything about it. It's probably the best Halloween film that I've ever watched, and this is saying a lot coming from an individual who loves the 1978 film, which is my favorite of all time. It's my favorite horror film of all time. And they just did an absolutely amazing job. If any other director had got a hold of this, it most likely would have been nothing more than a bunch of cheap jump scares with no substantial elements to keep the audience engaged with what was going on the screen. But I loved everything about it. Even the kills are absolutely amazing too. Just how they managed to find ways for Michael to be that much more brutal and vicious is nothing short of amazing from my perspective. You have Jamie Lee Curtis, who returns as Laurie Strode, and you don't see a lot of her in the film. Let me go ahead. You don't see a lot of her, but when you do see her, she gives such a magnetic performance that you can't help but be captivated by her presence on the screen. You have I didn't care for Anthony Michael Hall playing Tommy Doyle from the original film, because I just couldn't buy that little boy turning into that. So they didn't necessarily detract me from enjoying the film, but I just didn't care for Anthony Michael Hall's performance. I just thought it was kind of unrealistic. You have the original actress who played Lindsay Wallace, who returns in this film. As the same character, you have the original Sheriff Brackett, who returns in this one as well. So it's a lot of interesting callbacks to the first film, even the one that was released in 2018, and some Easter eggs that you might recognize from the films that I just showed you as well. It's not so much connecting them into a storyline, it's simply those who have watched all of them, whether more than once, they'll recognize those references. The theme music is still hauntingly beautiful. My favorite horror theme of all time, still to this very day. John Carpenter is was a wonderful musical genius that his themes are so identifiable and iconic that they are forever ingrained within the historical perspective of horror film when it comes to musical scores. But I loved Halloween Kills. Absolutely amazing. There's probably going to be some people who are split on the ending, but I loved how the ending occurs and how it leads up to everything most likely being tied up with having the loose ends come full circle within their third film. Because let me just go ahead and say, this is not a spoiler here, folks. There is a Halloween Ends that comes out next year, so we know Michael doesn't die. I hope everybody does know that. We know Michael doesn't die, so let me just go ahead and state that, because without Michael Myers, it's not really a Halloween film. They already tried it, and it didn't fare so well. Even though it was entertaining, they tried it with this one, and it didn't work out so well. So you can't get mad at me for saying that, because we know without Michael Myers, it's not Halloween. So we know Michael is going to be in Halloween Ends. But how they did it was just haunting, suspenseful, and beautiful at the same time. That is my review of Halloween Kills. I'm sorry for being vague about it, but I want everybody to watch this film. I don't recommend it for children, even though I saw a family bring their children to watch this, what I thought was kind of amusing and interesting. But I do recommend it. I give it a 5 out of 5, a 2 thumbs up. Let me when you do watch it, let me know in the comment section what you thought about it. Let me know on my Facebook page what you thought about it. And as well, if you are new to the channel and found it through the YouTube search engine or through word of mouth, you enjoy my work, hit the subscribe button below. I also have a Discord server that is open for anyone who wants to chat with me or others of like mind and happens to enjoy cinema as well. And for those who have followed my channel from the beginning, thank you. That's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you'll be hearing from me again. My friends, take care and peace out.